Israel is in darkness, not the darkness of night, the darkness of rebellion. King Ahab bows to foreign idols. Queen Jezebel, a pagan queen, has driven Baal into the ground. God's prophets have been hunted down. Sacred altars have been destroyed. People wander, lost among gods in silence. The voice of God seems to have disappeared. But from the dust of Gilead, a man emerges. His robes are torn by the wind. His eyes burn with sacred fire. There is no sword. There is no army. There is only one word. As surely as the Lord God of Israel lives, there will be no dew or rain, except by the word of my mouth. He is Elijah, prophet of fire. His mission will shake kingdoms, shatter idols. From silent caves to fiery mountaintops, Elijah will confront evil, raise the dead, and call down fire from the heavens. The earth will quake, and soon the very heavens will respond with fire. King Ahab sits on the throne, a man seduced by power and ruled by fear. At his side is Jezebel, the pagan queen from Sidon, fierce and cunning. Together they do what no king or queen of Israel has dared to do before. They enthrone Baal in the heart of God's land. The sacred altars have been torn down. God's prophets have been hunted like wild animals. The people, once chosen, now wander, wondering if Jehovah still speaks, or if he has silently turned away. But in the dust of Gilead, a man walked alone. He wears no crown, no armor, no reputation. His clothes are rough, shaped by the wild. But his eyes burned with what the kingdom had forgotten, the fire of the living God. He stood before King Ahab, uninvited. Elijah calmly said to Ahab, "There will be neither dew nor rain all these years, except by my command." Then he turned and walked away. A single word, and the heavens closed. As drought began to devour the land, Elijah disappeared into the wilderness, guided by the voice of God. Ravens fed him by the streams. In solitude, Elijah listened. Time passed, months, years. No rain, no dew. Crops withered, wells dried up, and the land cried out. What began as silence turned to pain. Yet Elijah hid by a spring that still dripped water while everything else was dry. Ravens brought him bread and meat to feed him. Elijah, in a whisper of prayer, "Speak, Lord, I am still here." And the Lord said, "Get up, go to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow to feed you." Elijah obeyed. Elijah through cracked hills and starving cities, until he came to the gate of Zarephath. There he saw her, a widow gathering firewood, and she walked with the heavy bearing of one who has lost all hope. Elijah gently, "Please give me some water and a piece of bread." The widow smiled, "Lord your God, I have nothing left. Only a handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug. I am preparing a last meal for me and my son. Then we will die." Elijah stepped closer. "Don't be afraid. First make me a small cake, then give it to yourself and your son. For this is what God says, the jar of flour will not run out, and the jug of oil will not run dry, until God sends rain on the earth. From that day on, the flour never ran out, the oil never ran dry. Every morning she reached into the jar, and life remained, but death still lingered nearby. One night her son grew weak, then cold, then motionless. The mother cried out, clutching the body. Her miracle turned to ashes. The widow screaming to Elijah, "Have you come to remind me of my sins? To kill my son?" Elijah picked up the child, went up to the attic, and laid him on the bed. Elijah, alone, trembling. "O Lord my God, have you brought trouble upon this widow by taking her son away? Please restore his life." Elijah prayed, "Lord, let his soul return to him." And the child began to breathe again. Elijah took the child and gave him back to his mother. She looked into his eyes, and they were still wet with tears. The widow, amazed, "Now I know you are a man of God, and the word of the Lord in your mouth is truth." In the 3rd year of the drought came again. The Lord said, "Go and meet Ahab. I will send rain on the land." Elijah stood up, his eyes steady, and he went. When he met Obadiah, the palace manager, Elijah told him to take a message to Ahab. When Elijah arrived, his voice was like thunder. "Is this the troublemaker of Israel?" Elijah calmly, "It is not I who have troubled Israel, but you and your father's house. For you have forsaken the Lord and followed Baal. Now gather all the people of Israel together and go up to Mount Carmel." And the prophets of Baal, 450 men. The prophets of Baal were dressed in scarlet robes with painted faces and swords at their sides. Elijah stood alone, his cloak blowing in the wind. Elijah gave a challenge: 2 oxen, 2 altars, one for Baal, one for the Lord. God who answers by fire is God. The prophets of Baal cried out from morning till noon. They danced and cut themselves, and their blood mixed with dust. Elijah, mocking, "Shout louder! Perhaps your God is sleeping, or away." They screamed until the sun was about to set. Then Elijah stepped forward. He rebuilt the altar of the Lord with 12 stones, one for each tribe of Israel. He dug a trench around it, piled up the wood, placed the bull, and ordered water poured in 3 times. The altar was filled with water. The trench overflowed. Then he looked up to heaven. "O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I do everything according to your word. Answer me, O Lord. Let this people know that you are God, and that you are turning their hearts back to you." A fierce fire poured down from heaven, burning the cow. Dust. Everything disappeared. Silence fell over the mountain. Then the people fell face down on the ground. People weeping, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" Elijah turned to the king and said, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let one of them escape." And they were led down to the brook Kishon. And there they were judged. But the drought was not over yet. Elijah climbed to the top of Mount Carmel. He knelt down, put his head between his knees, and prayed. "Elijah, Go, look toward the sea. Servant, shouting. A cloud, as small as a man's hand, is rising from the sea. Elijah, burning, standing up. Run. Tell Ahab to get down the mountain before the rain stops him. The sky darkened. The wind howled. The heavens opened. The rain poured down. And the earth drank its fill. Into the dark palaces of Jezreel. Jezebel heard that her prophets were dead. Her pride was burning. With a voice full of poison, she sent a message. Elijah will be tomorrow. He fled into the wilderness, his cloak soaked, his heart broken. He fell under a broom and whispered, "Enough, let me die." But heaven was not yet done with Elijah. An angel touched his shoulder. "Get up," said the angel. "Eat. The journey is too much for you." Then Elijah stood up and continued walking. And the Lord said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Elijah trembled. "I have been zealous for you, but I am alone." And the Lord answered, "You are not alone. There are 7,000 who have not bowed down to Baal. Go back, anoint the kings, awaken Elisha." And the prophet, tired but not broken, rose. With the whisper still in his soul, he stepped out of the cave and into the legacy of fire.